There's something gentle about the way the hallway begins, almost as if it's greeting you with a soft nod, the kind you give someone you care about when words aren't really needed. Maybe you notice it right away. That hush in the air, that barely there glow along the walls, the way the light seems to move with you instead of around you. It's the sort of place where even your footsteps feel softer, as if the floor itself is cushioning them, not wanting to disturb the calm that's already settling over your shoulders. And perhaps you feel me beside you, not intruding, just quietly sharing the moment. I might ask, in a low voice, do you feel how still it is here? Even though I know the answer. Because this hallway wasn't built for noise or hurry, it was made for gentleness. For people like you who carry so much quietly for such a long time. As you walk a little further, the air changes in that subtle, soothing way that only becomes noticeable when you slow down enough to feel it. It's cooler in places, warmer in others, like delicate currents weaving around you, inviting your body to soften. Every few steps, you pass a small drawer built into the wall, each one the size of a cupped hand, each one with a tiny brass label too faded to read from a distance. They don't call out to you. They don't demand anything. They're just there, gently waiting. You might wonder what's inside them, though not in a worried way. More like curiosity, the kind that comes when you know you're safe enough to explore. And maybe you notice how every drawer has its own quietness, its own stillness tucked beneath the wood. If you pause near one, you can feel it, the feeling that whatever's stored inside has been resting for a long time, like old memories sleeping without stirring. The hallway bends slightly, just enough to make everything ahead look like a promise rather than a destination. And with each step, something inside you loosens, the smallest unwinding, almost imperceptible, like a knot remembering how to dissolve. You might catch yourself breathing differently, a bit slower, a bit deeper, without forcing anything, as if your breath instinctively knows this is a place where tension doesn't have to pretend to be strength anymore, where your thoughts can quiet down without being told, where nothing in you has to be on guard. There's a feeling, warm, familiar, that this hallway has been a part of you for a very long time. Maybe you've walked past its entrance again and again in your dreams, never noticing the door slightly ajar. Tonight, though, you stepped inside, and the hallway seems grateful for that. As we move forward, the drawers become more spaced out, as though the corridor is giving you more room to breathe, more space for your shoulders to drop, for your mind to settle, for your chest to soften. The air grows steadier, like a calm hand resting lightly on your back, and somewhere ahead, barely visible but unmistakable, is a subtle widening of the hallway. The beginning of a room that feels older, wiser, and even quieter than everything you've seen so far. But that's for later. For now, you're just here. Walking through the hallway of quiet drawers, sinking deeper into its softness, feeling the world grow quieter inside you, one slow breath at a time. The whispering cabinet of old thoughts. The hallway widens so gently that you almost don't notice at first. It's like watching a curtain draw back in slow motion, revealing a space that feels older than your worries and calmer than your heartbeat on its quietest days. The air has that soft, velvety hush, the kind that feels as if it's been settling for years, waiting for someone to enter without fear. And right there, standing with a kind of humble dignity, is the cabinet. It doesn't loom, it doesn't glow, it simply exists. Tall, wooden, warm-toned, with edges softened by time. The sort of furniture you might find in a grandparent's attic, holding secrets that have long since forgotten how to stir. When you look at it, something inside you tugs. Not sharply, not anxiously, just a faint recognition, like remembering a lullaby you haven't heard since childhood. As you step closer, you can hear it, not words, Not sentences, but murmurs, little threads of sound, almost like breath moving through the grain of the wood. And you realize, these are your old thoughts, the ones that once felt loud, urgent, overwhelming, yet here, in this cabinet, their voices are soft, worn down, almost peaceful in their fading. I stand beside you, keeping my voice low. Do you hear how different they sound now? I ask, not to make you think, but to help you notice the gentleness that has replaced the chaos. Because right here, these thoughts aren't something to wrestle with. They're just echoes of feelings you survived. You might place your fingertips on the cabinet's surface. It's cool at first, then warmer, as if acknowledging your touch. The murmurs shift slightly, not in alarm, but in recognition. These thoughts know you. They know your late nights, your long days, your worries that chase themselves in circles, but now they whisper instead of shout. Isn't it strange how something that once felt so heavy can, in memory, feel almost weightless? You feel the wood pulse with a faint rhythm, slow and even, like a heart that has learned patience. Inside the cabinet, behind small brass handles, your old anxieties sit folded like pages in a book you no longer reread. They aren't trying to escape. They aren't asking for your attention. They're simply resting. You breathe out, a long, gentle breath, and the whispers respond. They soften further, as if your exhale has told them, you can settle now. I'm okay. For a moment, you might close your eyes. The cabinet's presence becomes a feeling rather than an object, a soft reminder that old fears lose their sharpness when they're given a place to rest. When you open your eyes again, the room feels warmer, as if your acceptance has shifted the air. And maybe you notice this. The cabinet isn't burdened. It doesn't struggle to hold what it holds. It simply contains quietly and steadily without judgment, almost like a silent promise that you don't have to carry everything all the time. There's something beautiful in that realization, something quietly freeing. A single thought slips into your awareness, gentle as a falling petal. I've survived all of this. When you're ready, we'll move to the next moment. The drawer that only opens when you exhale. The drawer that only opens when you exhale. You notice it almost by instinct, a tiny drawer tucked into the side of the cabinet, smaller than the others, almost shy in the way it hides between the shadows of the wood. At first glance, it looks sealed, no handle, no keyhole. Just a smooth surface with a faint line tracing its outline, as if it were waiting for a very specific kind of touch. I lean closer, speaking in that soft, slow tone meant only for moments like this. This one doesn't open with effort, I say gently, only with release. And perhaps you feel something inside you respond to that idea, the notion that not everything opens through struggle. Some things, the softer, more delicate truths, only reveal themselves when you stop. Trying so hard, you raise your hand to the drawer, but before you touch it, something in the air shifts. The space around you seems to hold its breath. The cabinet, the hallway, even the faint murmurs of old thoughts. Everything becomes still, as if waiting for you to do just one thing. Exhale, so you do. Not a forced breath, not a dramatic sigh, just a slow, warm release, the kind that loosens something behind your ribs, the kind your body gives when it finally understands it, doesn't have to brace for anything. And with that gentle exhale, the drawer slides open by less than a centimeter, soft enough that you might wonder if you imagined it. But you didn't. The drawer responded to your letting go. You try it again. Another slow breath out, warm and steady. This time the drawer opens a little more, making a faint sound. Not a creak, not a click, but something like a whispered thank you. As if the drawer had been waiting for years for you to breathe, like this, unguarded, unforced, completely human, I watch you quietly, a small smile in my voice. It listens, I murmur, only to the version of you that's not trying to be strong, just trying to be real. Something inside you softens at that, maybe a place in your chest that's been tense for days or weeks or longer than you like to admit. Because breathing out isn't always easy when you've spent so long holding everything in. But here, in this room of quiet memories and whispering, Wood, your exhale feels like a key you forgot you had. You bring your face a little closer to the drawer, almost as if you're sharing a secret with it, and let out a third breath, the slowest yet, the kind that has a tremble of relief in it. The drawer glides open fully now, smooth and silent, revealing a small folded piece of paper inside. It isn't dramatic, it isn't magical, but there's something deeply comforting about its simplicity. A tiny note that seems to glow faintly with warmth, as if it absorbs and reflects every breath you release. When you reach in to pick it up, the paper feels softer than you expect, worn by time, thinned by tenderness. It rests on your fingers as lightly as a feather. For a moment, you don't open it. You just hold it, feeling your breath settle into a slow rhythm, feeling your chest expand in a way that doesn't hurt, feeling the quiet acceptance that maybe, just maybe, some doors in your life aren't meant to be pushed open. They're meant to be breathed open. The room feels warmer now. Your shoulders feel heavier in the good way, the way that means tension is finally melting. And in your hand, that small folded note seems ready to show you something you've needed to remember. The index cards of every emotion you've ever carried. The folded note feels warm in your hand as you approach the next part of the room. A quiet alcove that seems to brighten only when you step closer, as if responding to your presence. There's a table there, small and steady, made of the same softened wood as the cabinet, and laid out on its surface, like a patient constellation waiting to be noticed, is a scattered collection of index cards. Some are pale, almost white, the kind of color you'd associate with early morning light. Others are muted shades of blue, soft greens, gentle golds, colors so faint they look like memories drifting through fog. None of them shout, none of them sparkle. They simply rest, quietly honest in their stillness. You place the folded note down for a moment. It almost seems to sigh with relief, as though it knows you're about to understand something important. I stand close, but not too close. Enough for you to feel I'm here, but not enough to intrude on whatever unfolds inside you. These, I whisper, are every emotion you've ever carried, softened by time. You reach toward the table, and the air feels different here. Warmer, more intimate, as if the room itself is holding its breath for you. As your fingers hover above the cards, you notice that each one has a slight glow around its edges, not bright, just quietly alive. Emotions tend to stay that way, never gone, just waiting for you to look at them with gentler eyes. You pick up a card almost without choosing it. It's a soft blue. The texture is worn, edges rounded, like something handled many times before. Inside, in handwriting that looks suspiciously like your own, there's a single word, worry. But the word doesn't sting here. It doesn't tighten your chest. It just sits calmly on the page like a younger version of yourself who once didn't know what else to feel. You read it the way you might look at an old photograph, tenderly without judgment. Another card catches your eye, a faint green one. When you lift it, you see the word hope, and you feel it. A quiet ache, the good kind, the kind that reminds you you've always held on to something, even on the days when your hands felt empty. There are cards for loneliness, for joy, for curiosity, for fear, for rest, for love, for emotions you don't even have names for. But none of them are heavy. None of them demand anything. They've been catalogued with the same gentle care you wish someone had given you in moments when you felt overwhelmed. I step a little closer, speaking softly so the words don't disturb the quiet unfolding inside you. Every feeling you've ever held, I say, had a place, and none of them were mistakes. You look at the table again, and something tender settles in the back of your throat. Not sadness, not relief, something softer. Understanding, maybe. Acceptance. A kind of inner warmth that spreads when you realize you don't have to erase any part of yourself to feel peaceful. There's one space on the table, a small, empty rectangle where a card clearly belongs, but isn't there. Not missing, just not visible yet. That will be the card you've come here to find, and when you're ready, we'll look for it together. The missing card that was never lost. There's a kind of hush that settles over the room when your eyes fall on that empty space, the quiet outline where an index card should be. It's not alarming. If anything, it feels familiar, like stumbling upon a memory you've felt your whole life, but never turned to look at directly. A soft recognition stirs somewhere in your chest, the way a forgotten melody rises. When someone hums the first note, you lean closer. The table doesn't change, but the silence around that empty space deepens, like a breath being held, suspended in warm air. It's the kind of silence that feels kind, patient, the kind you might feel when someone waits for you to speak in your own time. I step up beside you, voice lowering to a dark, velvety softness. "This is the card you've been looking for," I say gently. "The one you thought you misplaced, or never had, or weren't allowed to keep." My words fall into the space without stirring the calm, as if the room has been expecting them. You trace the edges of that empty rectangle with your fingertip. There's nothing there, and yet as you touch the surface you feel warmth, a faint pulse, a quiet hum just beneath the wood, not loud, not urgent, just present, like a small heartbeat that has always been beating for you, even on the days you felt hollow. Isn't it strange how something can be missing without ever being gone? The thought drifts into your mind like a drifting feather, slow and weightless. Maybe part of you remembers the times you felt peace for a moment, a breath, a night, a morning, only to lose sight of it again. The times you believed peace was something outside of you, something you had to earn by being good or quiet or strong or perfect. But here, in this still room, you begin to feel something different. That peace was never a reward, never a puzzle, never a prize at the end of all your effort. It was a part of you. A card tucked so deeply into your being that anxiety simply built tall stacks of noise around it. You press your palm flat against the table, lightly, carefully, and in that moment, something beneath your hand warms, then softens, then shifts. It's subtle, like the way snow melts under a single warm touch. But you feel it. The quiet outline seems to respond, acknowledging you, recognizing you. I speak softly, almost whispering into the stillness. This card didn't disappear. It just hid, waiting for a moment when you were gentle enough with yourself to see it. As I say it, a question floats through you, not demanding an answer, simply drifting, like a candle flame swaying in a draught. How many times in my life have I mistaken hiding for absence? Something inside you loosens, not dramatically, not all at once, but with a slow, downward exhale that feels like setting down a weight you didn't realize you'd been holding for years. And then, under your palm, the faint hum gathers, circles, warms, and the empty outline begins to glow. A soft, muted light, the kind you'd see at the edges of dawn. It's not bright, it's not magical, it's gentle, as if the card is remembering how to appear, not because you found it, but because you finally stopped searching with tension and started reaching with calm. The card begins to rise from the table, forming, appearing, returning, as if it has simply been waiting for your touch, your breath, your readiness. When you lift your hand, there it is, the card that was never lost. Simple, warm, quiet, almost shy, a small piece of peace that belongs to you. The quiet archivist who has been watching over you. The moment the card settles on the table, warm, whole, softly glowing, something shifts in the air behind you. Not a sound, not a movement, more like an awareness, a presence that has been here all along but chose to remain quiet until now. You turn slowly, not out of fear, but out of that deep instinctive trust the room has been building inside you since the very first hallway. And there, standing just beyond the soft spill of lamplight, is the archivist. They aren't imposing. They aren't mysterious in a way that startles. If anything, they look like someone you've known for years without realizing it. A figure shaped by gentleness rather than shadow. Their face is softened by time. Their posture relaxed, their hands loosely folded in front of them, as if they've spent a lifetime taking care of things that matter. And you notice their eyes. Calm, observant, steady. Eyes that know what it's like to unravel, to worry, to ache quietly in the dark. Eyes that have watched over the drawers, the cabinets, the memories, and over you too, in the places of your mind you rarely visit. They don't speak at first. They just nod, slowly, like someone who's relieved to see you. Finally arrive. I stay beside you, but I speak softly, giving space to the quiet that hangs between you and this presence. They've been keeping everything safe, I whisper. Not controlling, not judging, just holding. The archivist steps closer, their footsteps soundless on the floor. When they reach you, they tilt their head slightly, studying your face the way someone studies a beloved photograph. Not analyzing, just remembering. Their voice, when it finally comes, is low and warm, like the sound of pages turning in a peaceful room. You've carried so much, they say, not accusing, not pitying, just acknowledging the truth in a way that makes your throat tighten with something tender. They gesture toward the table, to the card that reappeared beneath your hand. This was never lost, they murmur. Peace doesn't vanish. It hides behind noise, behind fear, behind years where you didn't have the space to hear yourself breathe. You feel yourself exhale again. Slow, involuntary, the kind of breath that happens when someone sees you so clearly that your body can't help but soften. The archivist smiles, barely, softly, as if smiles are sacred things here. You've been searching, they continue, their voice settling around you like a shawl. But peace isn't something you find by chasing. It's something that surfaces when you finally stop running. They step to the side, giving you a better view of the shelves behind them, shelves filled with cards, notes, old thoughts, softened memories. You realize all at once how meticulously everything has been cared for. Nothing is out of place. Nothing has been thrown away or hidden out of shame. Every part of you has been respected, preserved, tended to. Why, you ask, the word leaving your lips before you can stop it. It's not a question of confusion, it's one of overwhelmed tenderness. Why would anyone guard my inner world so lovingly? Their answer is gentle and immediate. Because you deserve to feel whole. The simplicity of it hits you deeper than you expect. It's not dramatic. It's not profound for the sake of being profound. It's true in a way that quiet truths often are, the kind that settle into your bones. The archivist reaches toward the card, not touching it, just acknowledging it with a small nod. Take it, they say. It belongs with you. And in that moment you sense something important. They aren't giving you the card. They're simply reminding you it was always yours. When you're ready, we'll move to the moment you finally hold the card of peace. The part where its gentle glow begins to settle into your body. The soft glow of the card of peace. The archivist steps back just enough for you to approach the table again. The room seems to dim around the edges, not in darkness, but in focus. as if every beam of light has quietly decided to gather around the card waiting in front of you. It glows softly in that warm, twilight way, like a candle flame seen through half-closed eyes. Nothing flashy, nothing urgent. Just a gentle, steady pulse of calm. You reach toward it without thinking, your hand moving almost as if it remembers this motion from long ago. And the closer your fingers get, the warmer the air becomes. A soft warmth, the kind you feel when someone drapes a blanket over your shoulders on a cold night. The glow responds to you, growing just a little brighter, as if recognizing your presence, as if it's been waiting for your touch. When your fingertips finally meet the edge of the card, a quiet shiver runs across your skin. Not startling, not electric, more like the way the body sighs when something finally feels right. You lift it gently, and the card rests in your hand with the weight of a single breath. Light enough to forget you're holding it, but present enough to remind you it's real. The texture is soft, worn in a way that makes it feel familiar. As if your hands have held it 1,000 times before, in dreams or quiet moments you didn't realize were guiding you here. You turn it over slowly, and on the front, written in simple handwriting that looks like your own on your calmest days, is just one word: peace. The word doesn't float, it doesn't shimmer, it simply exists, steady, grounding, warm. And as you read it, something in your chest loosens. Something old, tight, tired. There's a gentle ache there too, the kind that comes when relief finally arrives after you've unconsciously braced for too long. Feel it, I whisper beside you, my voice a soft thread weaving into the moment. Let the warmth settle. And you do. Maybe without meaning to, maybe without realizing how much your body has been waiting for this exact softness. The glow deepens, not in brightness, but in warmth, spreading from the card into your palm, then slowly up your wrist, your forearm, your shoulder, until your whole body seems wrapped in it. It's not heat, it's not tingling. It's something quieter, like the sensation of slipping into a bath that's the exact temperature of your skin. The archivist watches you with a small, knowing expression. Not proud, not emotional, just deeply, peacefully satisfied. As if they've been waiting for you to reach this moment for longer than you'll ever understand. You hold the card against your chest, and the glow spreads inward. Not rushing, not pushing, just flowing with the natural rhythm of your breath. It settles behind your sternum, in that quiet place where anxiety used to live like a tenant who overstayed its welcome. The warmth fills the spaces that once felt too tight, too loud, too crowded, and for a moment, everything inside you is quiet, not empty, not numb, just quiet in the way a lake is quiet at dawn. Still, reflective, beautifully alive beneath the surface. You can almost hear your own heartbeat soften. The archivist gives a tiny nod, as though confirming what your body already knows. This is yours now, not borrowed, not imagined, not fragile, yours. And when you're ready, we'll place the card close to your heart, where it belongs, and walk out of this archive with your body lighter than it has felt in a long, long time. Putting the card close to your heart and walking out, lighter, you stand there for a long, unhurried moment, letting the warmth of the card settle into your body, not rushing it, not trying to make it mean anything more than what it already is, just holding it, the way you'd hold something precious that finally feels like it belongs in your hands. The archivist watches you gently, their presence more protective than authoritative, like someone making sure you're truly ready before taking the next quiet step. And I stay close too, close enough for you to feel that you're not alone in this last part, but not so close that it takes away from the intimacy of what's unfolding inside you. When you lower your gaze, the card feels even warmer than before. You bring it slowly toward your chest, right over that space beneath your collarbones, where breath tends to get stuck on difficult days. The moment the card touches you, the glow doesn't just brighten, it softens as though melting into your skin. A warmth spreads outward, gentle and steady, like a calm tide rolling in at night. You can almost feel your ribs loosen, your shoulders release, your breathing drop into a deeper, quieter rhythm, the kind your body falls into when it finally trusts that nothing is threatening it. For a moment, you close your eyes, and the world inside you, the thoughts, the noise, the echoes of old anxieties, all fall away into a hush. The kind of hush that feels like the inside of a lullaby. When you open your eyes again, the archivist gives a slow, approving nod. Not dramatic, not ceremonial, just a soft acknowledgement. You've reclaimed something that was always yours. Then they step aside, revealing the path back through the hallway. But it looks different now. Maybe brighter, maybe wider, maybe simply easier to walk. The drawers no longer seem mysterious or heavy. They seem peaceful, like they've accepted their place in your story without clinging to your attention. I walk with you, quietly matching your pace. Your footsteps sound softer than when you entered, not because the floor has changed, but because you have. You're carrying yourself differently, lighter, like each step has a bit more air in it, a bit more softness. The card rests against your chest, but not as something you need to grip. It feels like it has already begun to merge with you, not disappearing, not fading, but settling into the deeper layers of your calm. You can sense it there, a warmth, a steady pulse, a reminder that peace is not something fragile, but something renewable, something stored within you. As you move through the hallway, you notice that the old whispers have quieted. The drawers no longer murmur. They seem content, as if acknowledging that you've taken back what you came for. Even the air feels different, less heavy, less expectant, more like a gentle exhale you didn't realize you'd been waiting for. At the entrance to the archivist stops. They don't follow. They don't need to. Their job was never to guide you out, only to keep things safe until you were ready to retrieve them. Their voice reaches you one last time, low and kind. Whenever you forget this feeling, come back. The archive will wait. Peace will wait. You don't have to be perfect to return. And then they fade into the warm stillness of the room, as if becoming part of its quiet again. You step forward, out of the hallway, back into the soft, open space of your own inner world, lighter, warmer, calmer than when you arrived. And as you continue, toward rest, toward sleep, toward whatever gentle dream waits. And for you, you can feel that card still resting against your heart, glowing faintly inside you, peace in its simplest form, yours, always. Whenever you're ready for another journey, another story, another night of calm, I'll be right here.